Thanks for joining me. I'm Liz Elsmore, a Master of Public Health grad student from Utah State University. My presentation today is about mental health in older LGBTQ+ adults. As an experienced yoga teacher, I'm interested in finding innovative ways to incorporate mindfulness and holistic health in all kinds of settings, and often that means thinking outside the box. As a twice-hidden minority group, older LGBTQ+ adult mental health is both understudied and more critical at this time due to COVID-19, mask wearing, isolation, as well as years of discrimination. While I do not have time to present all the details on this topic from one of my class papers, I do want to impress the importance of a life course framework, as all these factors are critical to the discussion. Additionally, as socialization has been found to be key in older LGBTQ+ mental health, I will try to share some connections in our very own communities, including specifics from an expert interview with SAGE Program Director Deb Hall at the Utah Pride Center. At 82, Tom recently came out just after turning 80. Sid is 56 and been on antiviral therapy for so long they're undetectable, but still has recently been turned away at doctor's appointments. Jade is 57 and transitioned 15 years ago, but suffers from long-term effects of hormone therapies. While names have been changed to protect individuals, their stories represent lived experiences of older LGBTQ+ community members that are at a greater risk of cognitive decline, substance abuse, isolation, suicide, and mental illness. In fact, feelings of discrimination based on sexual orientation are higher for LGBTQ+ than any other social determinant out there. It is the biggest barrier to mental health. You wouldn't think that Utah ranks as high as it does for suicide rates, but it is 5th in the nation. Mental health, again, a critical juncture for LGBTQ+ populations, as suicide rates are higher and even more so for older LGBTQ+ adults compared to heterosexual individuals of any other group. This brings us to the role of SAGE, which stands for Services and Advocacy for Gay, Lesbian, Bisexual, and Transgender Elders. SAGE is a national organization, but has a local chapter at the Utah Pride Center offering activities and support groups for socialization. If I could draw your attention to this very center graphic for a moment, it is this, that social support is one of the most important factors in physical and mental health for these individuals. Again, remember that older LGBTQ+ have experienced a lifetime of public and private discrimination, and mental health risks are more multiplied due to age and even more so now with COVID. A life course framework takes this into consideration and recognizes both past and present experiences are shaped by the wider social, economic, and cultural context, which is essential to a more holistic perspective of mental health. A life course framework actually has 4 main approaches to risks. Let's consider Tom from our initial example. Tom is one of the silent and greatest generation birth cohort. Born before 1946, Tom grew up when sexual orientation and non-normative gender identities were not only invisible, but often stigmatized and even criminalized. A form of accumulation of risk, hiding in order to avoid discrimination, has actually resulted in further isolation and internalized negative sexual identity, which this group suffers the most from. A final approach, however, incorporates all 4 methods and recognizes health exists on a continuum. SAGE becomes essential to this picture of mental health not only in how it provides socialization as a protected factor against isolation, but socially connected support structures that create a sense of community. Finally, the burden of COVID-19 for seniors is further complicated due to isolation and mask wearing. Isolation not only increases inflammation, but mask wearing covers the face, interfering with human emotions and connection. Polyvagal Theory Dr. Stephen Porges believes cytokine storms are a result of cytokine levels with viral load and other accumulation of risk, including isolation and inflammation, and are what complicate the effects of COVID-19 for some individuals. However, he proposes that social interaction through a screen where the face can be seen as a second best case scenario, followed by regular phone calls as another form of socialization. As a model of outreach, SAGE has used grant money to increase its technology and modified programming. In brief, Director of SAGE Deb Hall purchased 20 brand new laptops for distribution, as well as internet hotspots for those in need, and monthly SAGE meetings have been shifted to SAGE daily calls to keep regular LGBTQ plus elders connected. Deb has personally reached out with phone calls and check-ins, as well as newsletters, special programming, and gift cards at holidays as a means for older LGBTQ plus adults to feel authentic and safe. A life course framework therefore honors the whole older LGBTQ plus adult, especially during the current COVID-19 pandemic, and as social support is one of the most important factors in physical and mental health. We need more programs like SAGE to provide a unique way to meet increasingly unique needs of people like Tom, Sid, and Jade in our very own communities.